it was just something about it. I'm like, my baby, you know, he don't play like that. He never did that or said nothing about it since. Like he likes to wear his dad's jacket to school and stuff like that. But he don't, I guess he just, what I'm trying to say is like, he's not that type of child. But to me, I believe, you know, when he said that, I believed it. But when he went to jail, I said, okay, maybe that's what it meant. He didn't get a lot of years, you know. He didn't get a lot of time as to what people get for that. And then when they came with the, oh, he's coming out on an appeal, and that made me really open my eyes and think back to what my baby was saying, like, you know, was he trying to get that message out? Like,
Mm.
is it really happening? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It made me think back to that. My baby ain't slept walk. He haven't been sleepwalk. He haven't slept walk since that day. And I just think about that, like, are you trying to send a message? Like, I don't know. So I just know that that's just sorry. You know, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what type of. It all comes down to the jury that he get this time around. You know, hopefully it ain't like the first jury that they had. He has to go back. They're not gonna let him go to Supreme. I guess he had to fight it within the same court. I guess normally when you go on an appeal, I think you fight it with a different court, a higher court. But they approved him to fight in the same court with the same judge that didn't let him go
Mm.
the first time. So he's going back to the same judge, but it's still all up to the jury if that's the type of trial he's going to pursue. And I'm assuming he is knowing that he's going back to the same judge, and the judge knew, you know, that he did what he did and wouldn't let him go the first time. So yeah, if you have a jury trial, you know, essentially it's all up to the jury. And to me, it's just crazy. It's a lot of, he should have never had a hung jury the first time. That was purely a white versus black thing. And again, it needs to be, I feel like awareness around that, because it just needs to be some type of rules or regulations. You know what I'm saying? I think we had mentioned that the first
Yeah.
time, like
Yeah.
them saying, huh?
Yeah. He was talking about go. You can go into the hung jury the first trial.
Yeah, so so the jury that we had, the folks, so we get to sit there and watch them pick. They didn't have a heck of a choice on who, but the folks that they got, they had a lady, she was a scientist. They had a lot of ex police officers. They fought hard for a lady who had been raped by a black man to be on the jury. They
Mm.
have to ask them those questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to make sure there's no conflict when they're picking. So the lady blatantly said it. She said, I was raped by my mom's boyfriend. Her mom, she's white, but her mom was dating a black guy or something like that. And she was raped or molested by the black guy. And so the judge was asking her, you know, by you being raped by this black guy and stuff like that, will that have an effect on how you process and, you know, how you process your thoughts with this case, because it's a black guy that's deceased versus a white man? And she's like, oh no, you know. And it's just how, like, they really fought to keep her in there. And that was just crazy that something like that is even allowed.
Yeah.
Like, I wish people can just sit in the courtrooms every day and just see the type of stuff that they allow, because as a judge, she would have been off immediately. You get what I'm saying? For me. So it's like they kind of push for, to me, it's just like, he just don't matter to me when it come down to the courts. Like I said, um, and just the system and the people in general. Um, it's not of his peers. They're supposed to pick people of our peers. And as I said the first time, he don't know no police officers, no white ones. He don't know no scientists. We had two scientist ladies that were there.
Mm.
Um, you know, he don't know people that's storm chasers or whatever the other lady was, and all type of stuff. None of those are his peers. You get what
Right.
I'm saying? They can't put themselves in their shoes as to what happened. So when they had that hung jury, they put themselves in Trifiletti's shoes. How I looked at it.
Right.
And even when the state was able to prove without a reasonable doubt that Paul Trifiletti was lying on the stand for his son, the jury still couldn't decide.
Mm.
And that lets you know everything it was needed to know. If somebody slapped me in the face and say, boom, here's the video of him shooting me, and he lied and said that he shot me a different way, there's no way I can go back and come back with a I don't know verdict. You know what I mean?
Right.
No way. So in me, I'm fair. If I can't tell what happened, I can't tell what happened. You get what I'm saying? Me being a neutral, me knowing Dougie, I know that what he said didn't happen. But that's because I know him. But me being neutral, if I really can't tell, then I really can't tell, and I have to go with that. But for them to slap it in your face and put all the evidence on the table and show you step by step for him to get caught lying, Dougie didn't get caught lying because he couldn't say nothing in court. You know,
Right.
It's up to the state attorney to talk for him, and he did it. He talked for him, and he spoke well. He talked for him, and everything that Trifiletti said was contradicted by MnDOT cameras and phone records, and those are two things that for certainly can't lie. You know, so he lied, and it was still a hung jury, and that's my only fear about this one. I mean, he did get convicted. The judge knew he was guilty. He wouldn't let him go after that. But it's just the fear of, I feel like word needs to get out, and, you know, it needs to be something done. And I can't really say what it is. I just need for people to know, you know what I'm saying? Know this story, know that this type of stuff is going on. And I don't know. Hopefully something happens. I don't even know where to begin. I did go back and look in there and see if they have a court date coming up. I didn't see no court dates. I did see that they passed the case back down to the lower level, but that's it. I don't see no date in there as of yet, but obviously it's going to be soon. I forgot to check and see if he was still in jail. I'm sure he is, because we would have known if he was out. But yeah, it's just something needs to happen. He killed him in cold blood, and they're allowing him an appeal because the main witness caught COVID on the second trial. And he agreed to have her testimony read to the jury because he assumed that the jury was going to do what they did during the first trial. They heard her testimony during the first trial, and it was a hung jury. He assumed the second time around that was going to happen the same way, and it didn't. He got sentenced. So even though he agreed to do that, the courts still allowed an appeal. So back to court we go, back to trial we go. I just don't think it's fair. I think it's a slap in the face to the family, and I think, and I don't know how all of those rules go, but I think if he's causing this much, if y'all taking him back to court, I'm hoping that they charge him with the same 3 charges that they did the first time, because he had 3 different charges: the higher, the lesser, and something at the lowest. I can't remember what all 3 charges are, but they dropped 2 of them and gave him the manslaughter 2.
Okay.
So what my hope is that they retry him for all 3, and that the new jury see to get him the higher. He needs to be resentenced if you want to go back to court. You know what I mean?
Right.
And hopefully they can see that, because when they break down the definitions of what each charge means and how they would have to prove that he's guilty of those charges, he most certainly fit the description.
Right.
They tried to say he didn't fit the description of intent only, which is definitely a higher charge. They say he didn't fit the description of intent because, as the judge say, well, I don't feel like he woke up this morning and said, I'm going to kill somebody. Yeah, he didn't wake up this morning and say he's going to kill somebody, but when the witness seen them arguing and seen him walk away and go get a gun and then come back out and they arguing again, he knew what his intent was at that point. He didn't already have that gun on him. So I see the difference. You know, some people carry their gun on their waist, and that's a different thing. If you're in the heat of the moment, you're going to draw it. So I would say no intent there. You did what you had to do. But for him to go and get it and then come back, That's intent. He knew what he was doing. If he was able to go back to that truck, he could have got in there and left. So even though that ended up being a lie, but intent, and that carries a higher sentencing. So my hope is, I don't know how they operate, but if they're retrying him, I'm hoping that they're retrying him for all three things he was originally tried for. I'm hoping that we get a good jury that, you know, see through the black man that got killed and the white boy. They tried to say something about, you know, his dreadlocks, and they the autopsy report had him at 6'1" or something like that. Dougie and Trifiletti, every bit of the same size, 5'4", really small guys, really short. Only thing is, Dougie's black and he's white. So that was another thing that they did the first time during court that, you know, I'm just hoping that they have all of that straight before they get in the courtroom this time. They did ended up changing it before the end of court, changing the height and stuff, because I don't know if that got in the jury's mind, but I guess we just got to see, you know.
For those who don't know, tell us a little bit about who Dougie was.
So to me, he's my son's father. He does have other children. And he was just a working man. He just did what he did. He never bothered nobody. They tried to paint him the murderer tried to paint him in court as being all this rough and stuff like that. And the state proved all of that as to be, you know, based off of background and records and stuff. All the stuff that he was trying to claim Dougie was non-existent. He was just getting off work, doing what he do, taking care of his kids. A lot of people do that, and they assume when it comes down to black people to say, oh, he was living this type of lifestyle or doing this and that, and it's not true. The story that they painted, I read one of the articles, they put in there that Dougie had told the man that he was GD game. Dougie is 40 years old, and I'm 34, and I've been talking to him since I was 18 years old, and that's not none that even comes out of his mouth. Trifiletti told that to the police. So they were trying to paint a picture of him as being something that he wasn't. You know, he don't got no charges, no background or nothing like that. He just was him. Goofy, loving, like a protector. So, I mean, I can't judge Mr. Trifiletti. I don't know him like that. But I can say a lot about how he presented himself. When this stuff first happened, I had people from his high school and from his old place of employment that knew him writing me. And these were other white folks now. They seen the newspaper and they Googled, they found me, and they were writing me and sending me messages about how, you know, that they feel like it was racially motivated before we even knew the full details. They told me that they felt like it was racially motivated because how he acted in the presence of them and how he used to treat people that worked under him and how he used to treat people in the high school that he went to. That made me go to his Facebook page. And when I went to his Facebook page, I think I told you the last time, he found it funny, the Philando Castile case. That was funny. Yeah, that was funny to him. Right. You know, he, according to his Facebook, he backed what the police did 100%, and he totally do it too if he was in the police's shoes. And if anybody know the Philando Castile case, then you would know dang well the police didn't have no right to do that. Exactly. So you're sick in the head. You're sick already, and that just shows, you know, what type of time you're on to even feel like you do the same thing in that police officer's position. A lot of his posts was kind of related around the police. Like that must have been like a fantasy of his. I don't know. Maybe he wanted to be a police officer. I don't know. But a lot of his posts were like that. He had a lot of racial things on there. So I took in what the folks that knew him that were writing me and what they were saying, and I believed it wholeheartedly because for one, if Dougie was going to do something, he would have did it. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't have let you take pictures of his cars. They had evidence that showed Dougie pulled off, and Trifiletti called him back trying to demand his ID like he was the police. Because I don't know if y'all remember, but COVID, the police wasn't coming for minor accidents unless somebody was injured.
Right.
So they called the police, but the police said, okay, if y'all not injured, we not coming. And that made them exchange pictures of each other cars. And Trifiletti had in his phone going all around Dougie's car, taking pictures of his car, so they both, if he wanted to harm you, he would have never let you take a picture of his car. You know what I'm saying? Especially if he was dirty or didn't have a license or something. Trifiletti made it seem as he didn't want to give me his license and insurance, say like another black man riding, no license, no insurance. His car was fully paid off. He had license and insurance. So that wasn't the deal at all. It's just his demand and him saying no is what fired him up. That's what they argued about, him demanding a license and ID, and Dougie saying, I ain't giving you nothing. You give me yours. Now, for folks that don't know the case, I mean, I can break it down really quick.
Yeah.
For folks that don't know the case, I can break it down really quick. So Dougie was killed a few years back in what they call a road rage incident. And how it happened is he was supposedly speeding on 94. He was speeding on 94. The MnDOT camera seen it. And Trifiletti and his friends, they were, I believe, 2 cars deep, must have seen him out the rearview mirror. So what they decided to do was like box him in. They boxed him in and was brake checking to, I guess, try to make him stop from going so fast on that highway. And so they did that for a little while all down the highway. So Dougie got tired and tried to whip around Trifiletti's truck. When he did that, they bumped a little bit. It didn't even leave a scratch. It didn't leave a scratch, but Trifiletti had he worked as a car salesman. So he had a brand new truck off the lot, a brand new candy red paint pickup truck. So they bumped cars. So they got off the exit and they pulled over. And as I explained, they called the police. Police wasn't coming. They took pictures. They took pictures of each other's cars and stuff like that. And then where the argument comes in is y'all took pictures and called the police. What happened after that? Trifiletti tells them that he went to ask for Dougie's ID, or Dougie tried to pull off. He went to yell at him like, hey, give me your ID or whatever. Dougie stopped the car and got out and was like, I ain't giving you shit. You give me your ID. So they argued about IDs. Trifiletti told the police that he ran to the corner. Now, I can't think of the name of the streets, but ain't no way. He said he ran to the corner where his friends was parked. Because mind you, they were 2 cars deep and Dougie was by himself. And he told his friends to get the F out of here. Get the F out of here. And the jury asked him why he said that. And he said because he felt the danger. Dougie kept grabbing in his waistband and he felt like he had a gun. So he wants to tell his friends that was a half a block away to get the F out of here. That right there didn't make no sense. So a man digging in his waistpants to get his gun, you walk past your vehicle with your back turned and keep going all the way to the corner to tell your friends to get the F out of here so that they wouldn't be in harm with your back turned towards this man that got a gun in his waistband, supposedly. So he said that's what happened. He said told his friends to get the F out of here. And he said he walked back to the truck and grabbed his gun. And as he was grabbing and coming back out of the truck, he seen Doug like go into the motion, like, you finna lift something. And he said he started firing. It wasn't true. He said in the midst of him walking back to the truck, he said that he was on the phone with his dad. So that leaves one of his hands, occupied. He said he was on the phone with his dad. So he had time to walk to the corner, tell his friends to get the F out of here, pick up the phone, call his dad. He doing all this because he stated this man had his hand in his waistband.
Wow.
So he called his dad. And he said as he's grabbing the gun, his dad said that he heard him saying, Papa, this man's going to kill me. This man's going to kill me. Then his dad said he heard 3 shots go off. Okay. Well, that's not what happened because there was a witness that was driving by as it happened. That's also not what happened because Dougie had his iPhone in his hand, not a gun. He had an iPhone in his hand. And he was taking pictures of him and Trifiletti's feet standing face to face within 1 minute of him being killed. So all of his story doesn't add up. The phone call to his dad, took place 3 minutes after the shooting, and it was caught. The reason why they know that is because they pulled his phone records and they pulled the MnDOT cameras. The MnDOT camera showed him at the light making that phone call after the killing. So his dad never heard 3 shots. His dad never heard nothing about it. His dad lied under oath and on the stand. And I told Dougie's sister, I said, there, you should be pressing charges. I will sue his whole family. Wow. Not just him. He in jail. I will sue his daddy. I will sue his mama that just passed away that's in the grave. She may have had an account. I'm going to sue everybody. Because his dad could have possibly helped him get out of jail by going up on that stand and lying had it not been for MnDOT cameras. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I said, you should have seen how you can press charges on him for lying, because I thought you're supposed to go to jail if you lie under oath. That's what I thought. That's what I always thought. And they knew he was lying because the state told him he was lying and said you was right here when they made this call because our camera showed us. So he just turned red in the face like a tomato, and his wife got up there and said, yeah, I heard the shots. My husband had it on speakerphone, and I heard the shots. Both of them should have been in jail because both of them lied.
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy. So now that's the story. The thing about it is the only witness, because he had his dad and his dad's wife as a witness because they claim they heard the phone, the shooting over the phone. But by that not happening, they no longer were credible witnesses. So the only actual witness who saw was this girl by the name of Monet Williams. And she was pregnant at the time, and they were trying to dismiss her credibility because she had credit card fraud or something from when she was a teenager, which don't got nothing to do with what she drove past and saw. So they tried to call her all type of liars and everything when she told the story exactly how it made sense. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Exactly how it made sense. Exactly how the photos in his phone, he had his phone on cluster mode. So that's your phone constantly take photos without you knowing. So that's what he had his phone doing. So what she said made total sense, but because she had credit card fraud, they wanted to they actually wanted her off they pushed for that to get her off, period, to where they would not use her as a witness, but the judge declined it. And yeah, so he went to jail, and now he's fighting because that witness, so he got a hung jury the first time. The second time around, they ended up sentencing him, finding him guilty and sentencing him. Now he has a hung jury because the girl Monet Williams caught COVID the second trial. And we had to read her testimony. Well, the state had to read her testimony to the jury, which Trifiletti agreed. And because of that, his new lawyer said they violated his Sixth Amendment, which I don't know what that is, but they violated his right to pretty much, talk to her and try to cross compare whatever evidence she said she had or what she saw. They are stating that they didn't get the chance to do that, and that was a violation of his Sixth Amendment. So back to trial we go for him. So,
right. So yeah, I was looking, it says during the second trial in April 2021, MW and SS each reported that they may have been exposed to COVID-19.
Right, and they were on a 14-day quarantine. And according to the courts, they were saying that that wasn't a legitimate enough reason, and that's why they, I guess that's why they granted the appeal, because they stated that the court didn't try, that maybe they could have did video court where she showed up on video or something like that. They stated that her being quarantined wasn't enough for them. Even though the girl was pregnant, I guess she lived with her sister or something. One of her family members had COVID and she had the symptoms. So they quarantined. That's how they were doing. If anybody around you, if you've been around anybody for 14 days with COVID, sit back, So, I mean, to me, it's a stupid, it's just an excuse.
When do you think the trial?
I don't know, but I'm gonna assume it's gonna be sometime starting within the next 30 days. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because I think when they do those, so like I know when they first go to jail, they have the choice to do like a speedy trial or something like that. He did that the first time around because he wanted to hurry up and get out. But now that he's already in jail and they turned back on it, I don't think they're about to make him sit in jail for a long time with the approval. You get what I'm saying? With the approval on the appeal. They can't make him sit there that long. So they're going to have to retry him soon. Like I said, I didn't check to see if he was out, but if he was out, the lawyers probably would have contacted his sister and everybody would have known already.
Wow.
So yeah, he actually still in there.
Yeah, that's why. Why do you think he's being granted? Do you think if he was black that this would be happening?
What? They would have denied the mess out of that for some COVID. They would have bought for all type of CDC guidelines to throw up in there to say with the CDC, the governor, and everybody else. People was out here getting COVID benefits. You couldn't even go to the doctor if you had COVID. Husbands couldn't go to the doctor with their pregnant wives if they even sniffed hard enough. Not even if they sniffed, they stopped a lot of stuff. Kids couldn't even go to school for COVID. They would have threw all of that out there had it been the other way around. And they would have made it legitimate for him to sit in there. That's favoritism per skin color. That's how I look at it. Because I know for sure they would have did that. They wouldn't even look twice over that appeal. Like, this is what? Nothing serious? Like, everybody knew about COVID. It ain't serious. You know what I'm saying? Then not that you agreed to it. You agreed to have it read to the jury because you thought that they were going to let you go. And they didn't. They didn't let you go. The judge knew it. The judge said it. The same judge that he got said when he had that hung jury, he was supposed to have been out of jail until they retried him. That's how it goes. And the judge said, out of his own mouth, shaking his head, I don't see how they came back with a hung jury. With the amount of evidence, I think you're in the right place. I'm going to deny the motion to let you out of jail until this next trial. You know, he said it in his words, but I just put it in my words. But that's what he said. The judge knew. The judge was shaking his head when they said that. So, yes, it's a definitely white versus black thing. All the jurors was white, and they came back with a hung jury with concrete evidence. And it's sad. And there needs to be some type of law. And I don't know what type of law it is, but his sister said that the first time around, and I said it for her. They need to have some type of law. And I remember saying something about them doing that for the George Floyd case, where they were able to have something specialized being done as far as his jury and who they were picking and how they were picking it.
Yeah.
And I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something similar to basically what I'm trying to say. If you're going to have a
jury selection.
Yeah, if you're going to have a jury of the deceased peers, it needs to literally be of his peers, not of people who going to side because of color. Y'all don't know motives. And y'all can tell. The attorneys and the judges, they can tell by the questions that they ask these folks. I can sit in the bleachers and tell what type of person they are just by how they respond to the questions that the judge has to ask the jury. So therefore, those people, why do they get to bid on a white woman who was raped by a black man being on the case of a deceased black man, which a white man killed? Why is that even up for debate? Why don't the judge have the power to say, no, we're not going to use her? Wow. Y'all can pick out the rest of them. We got extra people. Y'all can pick out of them. We ain't finna use her. Stuff like that is common sense. Like, to me as a judge, I just want to be letting nothing slide. And then the next thing about it is he killed a man. His wife, he killed a man, I believe, a year before. And his wife was in court with us the whole time. She cried when he got his time. I'm gonna find that lady. She probably seeing this stuff all over, but she cried when he got his time because he got a slap on the wrist because he was injured. His wife had believed that he did something to his motorcycle. They were Hispanic. And she believed that he did something because apparently they had been having problems and he'd been telling his wife about him. Next thing you know, they get into a motorcycle crash. Trifiletti versus her husband. He dies. Trifiletti was, I think they didn't send him to jail because his spleen, he had to get his spleen taken out due to that accident. So in the mind of the courts, they was like, he was injured himself. That was an accident. Why would he do something to rupture his spleen? And his wife is telling them, like, my husband has been telling me about this guy. he did it on purpose. You know what I'm saying? He did it on
Wow.
purpose. He got messed up in the midst of it, but he probably didn't expect that. So she sat in court with us too, and that was justice for her, you know, to see that he was found guilty. And it's crazy. He got probation and he got charged with a DUI or DWI. He was on probation. Another thing that I know is when you're on probation, I was on probation years back for being loud in public. And they took away my gun license for the time that I was on probation. And it was a short time. It was like 12 months, and then they deleted off your record because it's petty. So that was for a petty misdemeanor. I had my gun license taken away because I was on parole. Or probation, I'm sorry, for being noisy in public. This man had a DUI, a DWI. He had multiple. And he don't kill the man. So vehicular homicide, or whatever you call it, the case never closed. It was actually still ongoing. So he had a ongoing case at the time he killed Dougie. So it wasn't closed. He just wasn't in jail. And the only charges that they were able to stick him with right away was the DUI or DWI because he was drunk too when it happened. He was still able to have a permit to carry. Why? On probation. Why? You can't have weapons on any type of probation. I told Dougie's sister to sue the state, sue his PO, whoever didn't take that away, because they took mine away for something so petty. And they said because it's the rules, you can have you can be on probation for littering. And they said that you can't carry weapons while you're on probation of no kind, even if you don't have a charge of that sort. So I'm thinking, why was he still able to have a license to carry? Because that's the one thing that they kept putting out in the newspaper the first time. You know, license, male shoots unarmed. You know what I'm saying? In road rage incident, they made sure they put the license to carry portion as big as they could when they put that story everywhere.
Wow. But he wasn't even supposed to be carrying a weapon, huh?
He wasn't supposed to be. He never had his license taken. So that's fault of whoever his probation officer is, whatever county he's doing. When they charged him with them DWIs, them for certain shouldn't have a gun. He killing people when he drunk.
And again, yeah, he shouldn't even have a. And again,
I would be suing the whole Minnesota. By the time I got done with court, everybody in Minnesota would have been sued or tried to.
Hey Trey, let me try.
I know right now. Yeah, right now his sister, Dougie's sister, is doing what she has to do on a civil suit for Trifiletti. But yeah, I'd be suing whoever allowed him to keep that permit to carry.
Yeah, because if he was black,
allowed him to keep it, oh, that would have been gone. I just told you they took mine for arguing in front of a hotel. That's all I did. They took it away. Yeah, and I'm a female with no record. I have no record. They took it away for that. You killing people and you getting multiple DUIs, DWIs. If you carrying a weapon and you off liquor, and then he was drinking that day. Told him he had a couple of beers and all of this stuff. You was drinking that day. So because the reason why I was saying this is because he doesn't have any serious crimes stuck to his previous background except for those DWIs. The pending case for the other guy he killed is not on him because it's pending. They don't know if they're going to charge him yet. They're trying to figure out if they can come up with enough evidence to charge him, you know. So because of his background, I guess Minnesota went by some point system where if he doesn't have a previous background, he gets the lower end of whatever the sentence is for second-degree manslaughter. So he got the lower. So he got 12 years, and to do 8 of those, he'd be out in 2028 and do the rest of it on parole. Wow. But I sat in court and I watched another court case of a guy. They had no evidence of the murder. They had no evidence of nothing. They gave him, he had no background. They gave him the highest end because they said he had no remorse in court. He was black though. And no remorse is, if I just sat up here and told you I didn't kill somebody, what remorse do I need to have?
Right.
if y'all just sat here and presented a case with no evidence, I see how fast they slept. It didn't take them 20 minutes to come back with a deliberation. I sat in court watching like, dang, this man finna go free because they don't have no evidence on this man. From me on the outside watching it. And for them to come back and slap a guilty on him and slap 30 years on him and say he wasn't supposed to get 30 years. By the book, it say we give you 15 to 20 and you know you only do a percentage of that. But because you're sitting up here with no remorse, we're going to give you a full 30. We're going to make you do the full 30. So you're going to do 20 of that 30. And for them to sit in court and tell Trifiletti, somebody with evidence, that we seen it, we seen what happened. And there's other people who seen what happened. He gets the lower end of the stick because that's how the book works. What about how the judge worked? Because in the cases that I sat and saw, it was about how the judge, yeah, the book say 20, but if I feel like you ain't got no remorse for this family, or if I feel like, you know, I can push it up because I'm the judge. How come that didn't happen for him? He didn't have no remorse during court. He lied. He said he didn't do it. Only time he had remorse is when they said he was guilty. Everybody gonna have remorse when they're guilty.
Right.
Duh, that's how that works. Yeah, I'm about to cry. I'm about to boo-hoo and everything so y'all can feel bad for me and let me out of here, duh. Like, that's how it goes. So, it's different strokes for different folks. Yes, and that's the black folks. It's different strokes for the black folks. So, exactly. Yeah, I feel like it's favoritism because he's a white young man. He got a little bit of karma. His mother died during trial. I won't say that's karma because I don't wish like death upon nobody or nothing like that. And rest in peace, his mama. I don't know them. His mom have nothing to do with what her son did. Maybe she did. She might have raised a racist, but I don't know that for a fact. So no bad energy towards his mom. But like, she died while you were in the midst of trial. It's like karma don't be missing.
No doubt.
And that's sad. Like that's sad. He got to answer to somebody. They let him out of court. They let him out to go to his mama's funeral. No black person wouldn't have been out. They would have had to get an obituary in the mail for their mama funeral.
Exactly.
They sure would. I'm trying to think if my daddy got to see. My daddy said when he go back to trial, he gonna come up here. My daddy did 20-something years in the state of Illinois, and because the prosecutors was dirty. They was paying crackheads to say you did crimes. See, one of my brother's daddies, he did the same thing. He did 20-some years, got out in the state of Illinois, paid him $15 million because the prosecutors paid a crackhead to say he did something that he didn't. And it turns out that man came back all them years later and told him what the state attorneys was doing.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, Illinois paid him $15 million. So my daddy believed wholeheartedly, you know, when I showed him, well, I didn't even show him. He seen it on my Facebook and he seen the case. And he said, I'll be up there. He said, y'all need to protest this. He said, y'all need to protest. He said, they doing that because he's white. And my daddy don't really be doing all that black and white stuff. But he said, yeah, they doing that because he's white. They trying to let that boy go. They knew from the beginning they was going to let him go. They just had to make him sit down a little bit so y'all can be quiet. Man. Especially with that other boy dying. He's talking about George Floyd. He just don't, you know, he don't know all the, he said, especially because, you know, George Floyd was murdered then 2 weeks later.
Right.
After Dougie, yes. So he like, especially with that other boy dying, the other man dying up there, he said they just put him in jail to make him be quiet. But I told you all along he was getting out. He did. My daddy didn't know nothing. Him and my son had a dream that his daddy told him that man wouldn't be in there for long. So I just got my fingers crossed that somebody wake up. Listen, I'm hoping that, you know, like I said, the judges, they be telling the jury, don't look up the case, don't Google, don't do nothing. Look it up. Find this, you know, listen to the details before y'all go in there. Because they will paint a picture. You know what I'm saying? That's their job, to paint a picture, to get their person off. That's literally what they do. So yeah, they'll do that if you let them.
And again, you said it earlier, but what do you want to see? What do you want to see happen now that we're in this in this situation?
I want to see fairness, and the only way we're gonna get fairness is for everybody to pretty much work together to let these situations be heard. Like I said, I don't know the rules as to the Sixth Amendment and how that's a violation, even though he agreed onto something. To me, y'all playing in our face. Okay. And then I also want fairness as far as the jury goes. You know what I'm saying? We was out there real hard. Even when I had to go back, everybody was out there real hard with pictures and, you know, newspapers and reports and different videos, you know, going around just talking about the details of the case and what we wanted and how we was fighting for him. And I feel like it worked the second time around. If don't nobody know nothing, they'll just do whatever they, you know, right. They feel like he ain't got no voice. It died down. He don't got no voice. Let's sneak and let this little boy out of jail. That's what it feel like to me, like a slap in the face. All the racist stuff is dying down now. Let's sneak and pull him out of there.
Speaking about the racist stuff, do you think it should have been a hate crime?
I think it totally should have been a hate crime once they looked at his Facebook. He don't like black people. He don't like Chinese people. He don't like Latino, Mexican people. He had it all up and through his Facebook. He had videos on there of him getting his head skinned off to the bare meats and him throwing up all type of stuff, some type of it's a motorcycle gang, but it's strictly for those type of folks that only like white folks.
Yeah, white supremacy.
Yeah, so he's a part of that. And it showed. The people who knew him showed. I feel like all of that should have been presented in court. I feel like they should even brought in all those folks who wrote me and wrote his other family members. They should have put all that together and brought them in the court to put other charges on him. Because all he feel like now, I found a video of him on this little dating thing that they got in jail, or a picture. And he looks all nice and healthy and smiling, and to me it's like he knew dang well, it's like he got a black person under his belt. His sister, Dougie's sister, said that, like, I believe it's something going on where white people are having to and it's kind of weird, like a ritual, like you gotta get a black person up under your body. You get what I'm saying? Because it's so much back-to-back races and just unnecessary shootings and stuff like that going on all at one time. She felt like it was some type of conspiracy. And I think so, because it was just too much of it back to back. The Ahmed, what's his name? Ahmed Aubrey, like so many people. The other kid
like
in
the
Brooklyn
rites of passage or something.
Yeah, like you have to do this because, like, think about it. That's how folks used to have to know certain things to get jumped into gangs and all type of stuff. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like they got their own, like, you get this black person, you ain't gonna get that much time because we gonna get you off some kind of way. It felt like that. You get what I'm saying? With so much of it going on at one time. And I feel like it in my heart that he know what he did, and it's a slap to the face that he gets to sit up there and smile and try to get dates in jail. That he even gets to get approved for an appeal. Everybody feels bad about their loved one passing, but it's the fact, to me, I'm fair. If my loved one did something to you, you got to defend yourself. Because if your loved one do something to me, I'm going to defend myself. And yeah, I'm going to cry because I'm sad, but I know right from right and wrong from wrong. But when you did something and nobody did nothing to you, it was because you didn't want a black person going against what you thought you was finna play police on him and he wasn't having it. Then at that point, you deserve everything. I don't have no sympathy for that. I feel like he knows what he did and he knows he may possibly get out for it.
Wow. Do you guys have a Facebook page, GoFundMe, or any type of information if people want to get in touch with you or help out?
We don't have any GoFundMes or anything like that, but if anybody did want to reach out, it'll be to his sister, and I'm trying to look and see if she even still has her Facebook up. I mean, y'all can reach me for sure on Facebook, and my Facebook is just Keita Riley, and that's my picture. Ooh, I don't know if you see it. That's my picture if y'all can find me. And then his sister, her name is Valerie Lewis. I'm gonna see if her page is still up, because if anybody want to donate anything or help out with anything, then y'all can reach out to his sister, and I'm gonna call her, let her know. That's her page if y'all wanna find her, Valerie Lewis. So that's his sister, and she's handling everything for him. But when it comes down to like getting the word out and all that stuff, then that's where I'm coming into play.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else that I can think of.
So thank you for taking some time out your night to come talk to us about make us aware of what's going on with this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna have you back and try to get organized and do some organizing. So
yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you. Have a blessed weekend.
Thank you. You have one as well. Goodbye.
Peace. And that was Keita Riley talking to us about Douglas Lewis and Anthony Trifiletti. Anthony Trifiletti is a suspected white supremacist who shot and killed Douglas Lewis during a traffic incident. So he was first trial was a hung jury. Then he was convicted in the second trial. Now he's appealing that, and the appeal was granted. So Keita came and let us know what the business is so we can get the word out to the community. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to another edition of the Trend Crew Show on www.blacktvs.com or Black Watch Television on your Roku channel. All right, peace.